Hi everyone, and welcome to Monday's reading lesson. It was really good to see how many of you enjoyed starting Rumpelstiltskin last week with Miss Jackson. So this week we're going to continue the story. Before we start, I'd just like to give a shout out to some children that have been reading every day.
So, a big well done to these children in 1J for reading every day. Well done Seb, well done Ava, and well done Chloe. In 1D, a big well done to Chloe C, Chester, Ivy, Libby, Chloe H, Neve, Jack, Liam, Matilda, and Pippa. Isaac, Bonnie, Ross, and Erin. Wow, well done 1D. In 1C, a big well done for reading every day to Scarlett, Francesca, Buddy, Poppy, Sky, Georgia, Matilda, Thomas, Kaysen, Emily, Ava, and Sienna. Whew, I'm out of breath. Well done 1C. And a big well done to these children in 1A. Lily, Elliot, Mason, Dylan, Oliver C, Tommy, Emmett, Alfie, Tina, Zach, Layla, and Zara Lily. So, the Viper skill we are going to mainly focus on this week is Retrieve. However, we will look at each Viper skill in each session. Our main focus is going to be Retrieve, to retrieve key information from the book. So really, all our answers are in the book, but shh, don't tell anyone. Right. Pause the video now and have a little think what you think the word retrieve means. Well done. Did you have a think? So, let's have a little look at what the word retrieve means. It means to identify and explain, using our words, key parts of the text. We can also use it in a different context. For example, you might say, the dog retrieved the ball. The dog brought the ball back. But in terms of guided reading, it's looking at the text, looking at the story, and finding out key information from the story within the words. So, let's recap the story so far. Rumpelstiltskin. In the far-off times, there lived a poor miller and his daughter, Lily. Lily was kind and clever and good, but the miller was a show-off who liked to tell tall tales. Lily was in love with a prince, but was too poor to be his wife, so the miller went to the king and boasted about his daughter. "She can spin straw into pure gold," he said. The king was delighted and summoned Lily to the castle. Then he took her to a turret and showed her a bale of straw. "Spin it into gold by morning, and you may marry my son," he said. Then he locked the door. But, of course, Lily had no idea what to do and stamped her foot crossly. At the sound, a goblin appeared. "Give me your necklace, and I will spin the straw into gold," he said. Lily's necklace had belonged to her mother, so she did not want to give it away. Yet she did want to marry the prince, so she agreed. The goblin was as good as his word and spun the straw into reels of gold. The king was pleased, but he was also greedy. He took Lily to another turret with 2 bales of straw. "Spin it into gold by morning, and you may marry my son," he said. Then he locked the door. Again, Lily stamped her foot, and again the goblin appeared. Give me your ring, and I will spin the straw into gold for you, he said. Lily gave him the ring, and the goblin spun the straw into reels of gold. The king smiled when he saw the gold, but it made him greedier still. He took Lily to another turret with 3 bales of straw. Spin it into gold by morning, and you may marry my son, he said. Then he locked the door. So now we've recapped the story, we're going to look at our Viper skill, retrieve, and I've got some questions here. I'm going to read them and then you can pause the video and see if you can use the text to help you answer them. What is the miller's daughter called? What 3 adjectives describe her? And what did she give to the goblin? Pause the video now and see if you can answer those questions. So, how did you do? Let's go through the answers together. Remember, they were all in the text. It's just a case of identifying them. Our key skill, retrieving them. What is the miller's daughter called? Well done, Lily. What 3 adjectives, so we know adjectives are words that describe something, what 3 adjectives describe her? Well done, kind, clever, and good. What did she give to the goblin? Well, we know from the text she gave her ring and necklace. So, here are your chilly challenges for today. Today has just been a quick recap lesson on what you did last week with Miss Jackson and where you got to in the text. So, your activity is to create stick puppets of the characters in the story that we've met so far. And then, as an extra Chilly 3 challenge, you can see if you can use your stick puppets to retell the story so far.
Well done, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed the start of the week and today's reading lesson. So, now it's time for a story. Snuggle up, sit comfortably, even get yourself a hot chocolate. And I'll see you tomorrow.
The enormous turnip. Once a man came out to his garden with his turnip seeds and his hoe. He dug and he delved and he set his seeds in a row. He cared for his seeds and watered them well, and the turnip seeds began to swell. At last the turnips began to grow. They got bigger and bigger and bigger. And the man with the hoe said, "So we'll have turnips for breakfast and luncheon for tea, and it's turnips for supper, thanks to me." One of the turnips, the best of the lot, began to take over the whole of his plot. It grew bigger and bigger every day. It was huge, it was vast, it was enormous. The other poor turnips got out of its way. The man was baffled, but he kept on hoeing, and the enormous turnip kept on growing. The man thought it must be time at last to pull the turnip, but it just stuck fast. "Come and help heave," called the man to his wife. The man pulled the turnip and the wife pulled the man, but the enormous turnip just wouldn't budge. "Come and help heave," called the wife to a boy. The man pulled the turnip, the wife pulled the the man, the boy pulled the wife, but the enormous turnip just wouldn't budge. "Come and help heave," called the boy to a girl. The man pulled the turnip, the wife pulled the man, the boy pulled the wife, the girl pulled the boy, but the enormous turnip just wouldn't budge. "Come and help heave," called the girl to a dog. The man pulled the turnip, the wife pulled the man, the boy pulled the wife, the girl pulled the boy, the dog pulled the girl, but the enormous turnip just wouldn't budge. "Woof! Come and help heave," called the dog to a cat. The man pulled the turnip, the wife pulled the man, the boy pulled the wife, the girl pulled the boy, the dog pulled the girl, the cat pulled the dog, but the enormous turnip just wouldn't budge. "Meow! Come and help heave," called the cat to a mouse. The man pulled the turnip, the wife pulled the man, the boy pulled the wife, the girl pulled the boy, the dog pulled the girl, the cat pulled the dog, the mouse pulled the cat, and the enormous turnip shot out with a thud, a thrack and a thump, and they all fell back with a bump, bump, bump. Then it was turnip for breakfast and lunch and for tea, and turnip for supper, and oh dearie me, the turnip's so good that they can't get their fill, and it's just so enormous they're eating it still.